Joining us is our military analyst, Sean Bell. Good to see you, Sean.
Hi, Nick.
So that news conference last night, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, declared that Israel was in the second phase of the war. How significant is that?
I think for me, the press conference after all of the bombing campaign, the intensive activity that's been going on, there was a glimmer of hope that maybe they might be announcing a turning point, that actually some of their objectives have been achieved. But actually, it was a very firebrand press conference. There was a lot of talk about this going in the long game, a lot about good versus evil. There's been growing international concern about the plight of the number of casualties, particularly on the Palestinian side, and a hope that Israel would sort of do a moderate and potentially a proportionate response. But from what we learned last night, this Prime Minister Netanyahu is clearly focused on solving the Hamas problem and solving it in the long term, however long that takes and whatever the cost involved. And I'm afraid from a military perspective, the challenge of that is that inevitably that the Hamas is a symptom of the problem. The disease is a failure of politics to actually find a solution to this. And by putting a massive military expectation and focus on Hamas, you leave the problem that will fester and will not go away.
Yeah, indeed. The Defence Minister was talking about they'll stay there until there's a new order in the territory. So what do you feel, the next steps of this largely ground offensive now?
I think, from a military perspective, you look at the ultimate objectives and see where we're going. Before that conference, we were looking at the next steps and maybe the armour going in. Now, we're looking, if you're going to remove Hamas from power, which effectively is what Netanyahu is trying to do, I don't quite know how the military are going to be able to achieve that. The first step would normally be you'd clear all the civilians out of Gaza, so you're only left with Hamas fighters. Then you'd go in and fight them. But of course, that's effectively what the IDF tried to do at the start of this, but the population's got nowhere to go. As a result, the new direction has been to get the people out of northern Gaza into southern, past the Gaza River, and they've reiterated that that's their main objective. Then they're going to go in and take out the Hamas fighters, be slow, but gradually they'll take over the whole of Gaza City. Then they'll probably end up handing back to the Palestinian civil authorities with some sort of idea about what the security looks like there. But the Hamas fighters that go into southern Gaza, they're still going to be existing. And so we may well see armour going in around the city, etc., etc. But the harsh reality is that it's very difficult to see how this military solution is going to happen quickly. And it's going to involve a lot of casualties. And it's going to prejudice, in my view, some of the future for the hostages as well.
All right, Sean, thank you for now.